MAGA was right. We were crazy. Are Democrats okay?
So my last video was about woke one, a new phrase coined by leftists and Democrats online that is being used to distance themselves from the terrible PR disaster that was the last few years for the left in America.
And like a good VTubing host, I did in fact react to that video, and so please check it out if you haven't already on the channel.
Nancy Pelosi kneeling in full African garb to honor George Floyd? Why, that was just woke one. And how, in my opinion, that was not woke one, and how woke one actually started in like 2012, 2014 with Gamergate, Me Too, you know, Tumblr era feminism, the whole pre-Trump era wokeness, before it was even called woke. And I talked about how I don't want them to rewrite history and pretend this all started in like 2020. After uploading that video on woke one, I thought I was free. That I would never have to hear the insufferable, delusional term woke one ever again. I thought I could finally move on with my life. Yeah, I thought.
What do you make of those controversial statements I'm sure you've seen? I mean, she's, you know, the Thanksgiving dust up, abolished prisons, abolished police.
Francesca Hong has made clear her present stances to her electorate.
Yeah, she's moved away.
Before I acknowledge whatever she's saying, can we just take a moment to point out how fat AOC has become? I'm gonna have a woman-hating woman's moment here, but she has gained so much weight. I remember when she first stepped in the scene almost like 10 years ago, kind of after like Bernie got kicked out of the DNC the first time back in 2016. It was like 2018 roughly, if I remember correctly, that AOC kind of entered in to be like Bernie's semi-successor for things. But she was still very young at the time, so not like she could actually be like president. But a lot of people were like thirsting after her because of how hot she was, the big booty Latina, which by the way, race mixing bad, you know, so to disavow, beat all of you guys. But now that's been like almost 10 years later, she's hitting the wall. Like, she got her eggs freeze recently, and she's 39 years old. Apparently, she broke up with her boyfriend 3 years ago. And like, there's a video that she just released too about her doing like a bloating check. It's just like, what are you doing, lady? What are you, like, come on. You're 39 years old. You're not gonna be hot forever. You should have had kids, a bare minimum 2 years ago. Get some self-respect. Still gonna have an honest baby at best, if she even has a kid. She was never that hot. I mean, I would agree simply because of the fact that she's brown, but at the end of the day, if she's got tits and an ass, most guys, no offense to you, will go for it to some degree here.
Away from a lot
Right, she's moved away from it. Of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today. I have a local city councilman that has this saying, woke one was crazy.
Now, as an ex-AOC fangirl, I feel like I am well within my rights to say, not so fast, bitch. I watched these people go from anti-establishment, fighting the man, become the most preachy, buck-broken, neutered HR department Karens in real time. I remember when she broke away from the Bernie Sanders campaign after he dared go on Joe Rogan. I watched this all happen, and I held on. I held on for a long time. Many would say too long, in fact. But this
I would say you should have held on to begin with. I love you, Shoe. I've been a fan for ages, but even though I've been a fan for a long time, I was never a fan of AOC. I actually kind of liked Bernie Sanders back in 2016 before he got gypped out of the DNC. Then when that happened, I switched over to Trump because he was considered at the time anti-establishment. But AOC, like I said, came around a couple years later. And I was like, okay, she's a brown woman who's screeching about socialism and not just socialism, straight communism in the United States. Yeah, we're not the one that whatsoever. It was very clear where she was coming from. She also had the squad too with Ilhan Omar and a couple other. There's that black woman from Georgia, and then there's another lady, I forget. There was 4 of them total, and they were just insufferable bitches. They're clearly only rising the fame and only cared about the power they're receiving for being, you know, people of color, specifically women of color themselves. And we're just hopping on to the leftist trend in general. They were never genuine. They were never anti-establishment. Though it was funny seeing AOC getting whipped by Nancy Pelosi as soon as she got into Congress.
clip of AOC talking about woke one really solidified how I've been feeling for the past few years. In this video, I will be responding to AOC trying to walk back woke one in what I can only assume is a desperate attempt to distance herself from the more crazy people in her movement before a future presidential run. Now, while politicians are out here trying to dodge accountability for things that they've said and done, the rest of us are out here figuring out how the f we're gonna afford anything. People are getting squeezed from every direction. Rent costs too much, groceries cost too much, everything costs too much. At this point, I'm scared to open my wallet because I know it's gonna be empty. Actually, that's not true.
I was like, is she gonna do an ad? But the reason why everything costs so much is because the US printed 80% of all dollars ever printed before during the first few years of COVID. 80% of every single bill that's ever been printed before in the entirety of US history was printed during the first couple years of COVID. Then you wonder why inflation's so bad. We just have paper just flying through the air, just like leaves on a tree when it falls, just to the ground. Nothing matters. Then you wonder why everything's so expensive, because the money isn't worth fucking jack shit.
Full of shit. Just random gift cards from 2011 that I've never used. I don't even know what half this stuff is. But thankfully, I have a product that can help with just that. So before we get into today's video, let's quickly give a shout out to today's sponsor, Ridge. Ridge is known for creating premium minimalist wallets that can hold up to 12 cards and conveniently store your cash. They're made with RFID blocking technology, which protects you from
not how I would hold my cash, but okay.
Wireless identity theft. One of the things I love about their products is they come in so many different designs. Their store features over 30 unique colors and styles. My favorite right now is the titanium purple. I love the sleek design and I love the very subtle purpley color.
I can barely see it.
Another cool product that works well with the wallet is the Ridge Tracker Card. It's like an air tag in the shape of a credit card. You just put it right in your wallet, and if you ever lose your wallet, you can find its location right from your phone. Plus, it charges wirelessly and can last up to 5 months on a full charge. But Ridge isn't just focused on wallets anymore. They also created a very useful 5-in-1 power bank. It comes with MagSafe wireless charging and even a charging pad for your Apple Watch. Ridge has also created new 24-ounce water bottles. I've got the American traditional design. I love it. It's so cute. It's like little retro tattoos made from double-walled stainless steel. It keeps your drink nice and cold for hours. I'm taking a trip to Italy soon, and I'm definitely going to bring the water bottle and the wireless charger. These will come in handy. I think Ridge's products are great, but don't just take my word on it. Ridge has over 100,000 5-star.
I shouldn't bash your sponsor. That's really rude to do, the bash the sponsor. I'm not gonna bash the sponsor. That's really rude to bash the sponsor. Okay.
Reviews. And now they even have something extra special. This year, Ridge is hosting a massive sweepstakes, and this time 2 people can win. The winners get to choose from a Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato, a Hennessy Velociraptor, a Ford Bronco, or $100,000 in cash. The giveaway runs until September 8th. There are tons of ways you can enter, but you can also just enter it for free. But if you want to boost your chances, every Ridge purchase gets you additional entries. So head over to ridge.com/shoe to check out their collection and enter the 2026 sweepstakes for free using my link. Big thanks to Ridge for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. And now, back to the video. Now, before we get into the real meat of this, the real juicy, this is the politician AOC and the interviewer are talking about.
Another brown foreign woman needs to be deported. Send her into the...
Francesca Hong is a progressive DSA candidate who recently lost her primary. Francesca Hong has a few interesting tweets from 2020. Who among us does not? But most notably, one about wanting to...
Hold on, I want to see that tweet. Okay, so I have a confession. I also kind of thought the fish was hot. And it's so funny too that she made this tweet. Maybe I saw this. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I did see it. But someone in the Discord server was just like, of course you would find that fish hot. And I'm like, wait a second. How do you think I did? How did you know that I find that fish hot? But now she was also saying the fish is hot. And now I'm being ousted live on stream about the fish being hot. Why is the fish hot? Why is the zebrafish with the scar hot? It's a fish! Fuck, okay, moving on from gooning to fish.
Does not. But most notably, one about wanting to Cancel Thanksgiving. Cancel Thanksgiving. Should have done this in 1621. If it takes a worldwide pandemic for us to realize we should stop celebrating colonialism and the original super spreader event that killed indigenous folks and women, so be it.
Folks. Yeah, folks with an X. Not even when she says women, she just spells it with an O and an E. There was a popular trend for at least a brief period of time back in peak woke, right, in 2020, where you would spell women and men and, you know, Latino, like you would have an X instead of an O for those things. Just to stop being like so gender normative. But no, she does it with folks. Not with women, with folks. Her whole like thing about canceling Thanksgiving is already really bad, but then the cherry on top is the spelling the folks with an X. This almost makes me feel like a troll with how bad it is. That's just something you would get from like a parody account on Twitter. Like some sort of like one of those parody accounts trying to be as woke as possible. That's a black, trans, disabled, Zer, furry, diaper, wheelchair bound, autistic, bipolar, gender goblin, whatever fucking amalgamation that's not me. You can really think of there would do. Not a brown woman, well, I should say Asian woman more specifically, but still, foreign woman shouldn't be here doing it.
Super spreader event that killed indigenous folks and women, so be it. Please don't gather for the colonizer holiday. Please do wear a mask. I forget that people actually speak like this, and it's not just like some conservative parody of liberals.
One thing that they brought up as well was a post from you in 2021 where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
I'm a chef. Bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing. But Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities.
Don't get me wrong, I love the
How?
sewing session they're putting these candidates.
How though? Because you're Chinese or some sort of Asian flavor. I don't fucking know and I don't fucking care. You guys didn't come until relatively recently. Even the Chinese that built the railroads went back for the most part. Like they were just contractors, which we shouldn't have even contracted them in the first place. We should have just actually used American men. But we kind of saw them as like slaves because America does like its slavery, you know, whether that be the NWAs or the Chinese. Or the women, or now the AI. We like to reinvent and ways to try to offload as much work as possible to people while destroying the society at the same time. But the Chinese aren't really affected by this, so the Asians aren't. The only ones affected by Thanksgiving are Native Americans, and they've got their reservations to drink and gamble their life away, which they already do. Who fucking cares?
It's through reading their old woke 1.0 tweets back at them, like a dog that peed on the carpet. What is this? What is this? But the quotes and replies from like Democrats and leftists on this were even funnier. Is it so hard to just say, no, I do not want to cancel Thanksgiving? Even if you do want to, just lie? Why is she catering so hard to the fringe? Does she want to lose her election? Why can't she just lie? This woman is an optics nightmare. Just say no. Say it was a joke. Say it was woke one. Just lie, for fuck's sake. Just say no. Just lie, please. No, she shouldn't lie, and she's not trying to cater. This is what she truly believes. And the people should know exactly what she believes. She has talked about her half-white son, that he gives her, quote, proximity to whiteness.
I wasn't always aware of the struggles of other communities of color because for me, assimilation always kind of took over. And so I did marry, my proximity to whiteness continues, right? My son is biracial. He's half white and half Korean.
I love the hesitation. She's
Oh, Korean. Okay, not Chinese. Still needs to be deported to North Korea so that she can actually deal with real oppression there. I hate these brown women. I hate these foreign women because they talk about how much they hate white men and white people and how they all need to die and colonialism bad and America's evil and all these different things, right? And then they go ahead and date and then marry these white guys. AOC did the same thing, though apparently she broke up with him a few years ago. And then, you know, then we got this lady, Illa Namar. Well, I mean, granted, she married her brother. Almost every single racist, you know, woman who hates white men, who's not white herself, goes after the white guys. Like, they're protesting in the streets, colonizing in the sheets, and they're absolutely disgusting. Like, race mixing's bad. for a multitude of issues. But then on top of that too, you're not even really practicing what you preach because you recognize that it's better to actually produce with white guys because it's beneficial for your children. And then you hate your children for being half white. And you talk about how evil it is. Like your son's gonna grow up and find this clip and hear about how you dislike him because of proximity to whiteness and how it makes you feel. And you can see you actually talking about this, how she doesn't actually love her son.
Like, I married my child is half white. She can't even like bring herself to say it. Activists in the streets, colonized in the sheets. Many such cases.
Oh,
also,
that's what I
Francesca
said.
Hong just like hates all holidays, apparently. This woman is straight up Grinch maxing. She's got a hate tweet for every fucking holiday, I swear to God. Except for Kwanzaa, of course. Why would she hate Kwanzaa?
Isn't Kwanzaa the fake holiday or is it the Muslim holiday? There's like a fake holiday around Christmas, so they made it for like Africans to be like, look, Christmas isn't special. Every single religion has a holiday around the same time. So to demoralize and ruin Christmas and basically try to force the happy holidays, we're going to make everyone's holiday around the same time. So if you say Merry Christmas, you're being bigoted and unsensitive. And so here's a black one while we're at it. Is Black Christmas is the fake one? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Asked how her long-term vision of a world without prisons would work, Hong said, "What I know is attainable, and the policies that actually meet the urgency of the moment and understanding the realities of it means we have to ensure that we're funding our local governments, that we're bringing justice to victims." She added, "What may have been aspirational is not primary." What may have been aspirational. So it's still an aspiration. It's still a goal. It's just not the primary one. Interesting. Also, her opponent said this.
People try to call me the establishment. I look at that as a slur, particularly as an African-American candidate.
So, cancel Thanksgiving or establishment is a racist slur. Your Democratic Party, sir. Anyway, my point is,
the poor little Browns, like, they can't even talk about any serious issues. They're not going to talk about, the inflation. They're not going to talk about the job market. They're not going to talk about the Iran war. Or they're not going to talk about, homeless. They're not going to talk about, like, any of things that, are actually concern real Americans here at home, families and the dating market. They're not going to talk about any real issues that affect day-to-day Americans. But no, they're going to talk about establishment being racist and cancel Thanksgiving. What's the point of voting again?
Francesca Hong's old tweets about defunding the police and whiteness and Thanksgiving, they were being all hand-waved away by AOC as just simply being woke one.
Woke one was crazy.
Woke one was crazy. But if you said woke one was crazy during woke one, you are a racist fascist Nazi. The citation of woke 1.0 or woke one is now a common shorthand among parts of the online left to describe and distance themselves from what they view as a more dated or inconvenient aspects of the impassioned social justice activism they participated in during the late 2010s and early 2020s.
Well, they're trying to distance themselves because they realized how much they lost. And for the record, we have not won the culture war. It might feel like it because online spaces are definitely heading that direction, but they still have the establishment. And as long as they have the establishment, we're not going to win. And we can't even use Trump being president as a win because he's turned into a lame duck at this point. He has done some good things, like he has put the executive order to try to get rid of DEI within the companies and various things like that, but it's still an executive order that can be overturned. And they're actively working and resisting that with Bridge. From there, you have the lawyers, which are overwhelmingly brown women turning into, or tiny hats. You have the companies once again using Bridge to try to work around the executive order of DEI. White men are still not getting into the workforce, they're still being denied jobs, they're still being denied college. Even if the whole affirmative action was supposed to be struck down, everything is still set up from the top down to fuck white men over as much as possible, and has not gotten better under Trump. The only thing good is basically the online spaces. Elon buying Twitter, for all his faults, has definitely shaped the discourse online and it is bringing forward some sort of change when it comes to discourse overall, which is good. But if you go out into the street, you find more Indians and Mexicans than ever. Women are still in daycare, not having kids. And in fact, the women right now are screeching from the rooftops about how some baby murderer is not actually a baby murderer, and how they also want to murder their babies. They're trying to separate from Work One because they realize that they went too far with some of the craziness, but they still mean it. They just don't don't want to lose the online debate. They want to keep their establishment positions, but because more people are aware of those things.
In 2021, Chai Osi, campaigning for New York City Council, tweeted, "A cis white man should not be the next speaker of the council." When a critic of his on X unearthed that old post earlier this year, Osi, now a council member, gave a pithy response. Woke one was crazy. "We all got a bit crazy back then. We did some jello shots and got on the bar and took off our tops and burned the city down and got people fired from their jobs for having opinions Obama had 15 years ago. You can't spend like 10 years bullying people into the most retarded asocial political opinions under the coercion of social ostracization or getting fired from their job, then turn around and just be like, that just happened." My career for like a decade has been calling this out, has been trying to tell the left and the Democratic Party that this woke shit was toxic and would drive people away from them. And for 10 years, I was called a racist, sexist, pick-me, fascist, Nazi, every ist and ism under the sun. And now they're just conceding to that and acting like it never happened. And you just expect us to, what? Move on? I've been like a dog chasing a car, and I finally got the car, and I don't know what to do with it. Like, first of all, why as a Democratic politician would you say this? You're basically saying like, yeah, MAGA was right, we were crazy. Like, okay, what else are they right about then? Even from like an AOC fan point of view, this just makes her look completely unserious and makes like the progressive movement look completely unserious.
Well, that's a horrible freeze frame. My apologies, Shoe. But I think the reason why they're doing this is even though they still had the establishment, they did lose the presidency. Biden was a complete disaster for America across the board because of his policies, but also for them because the whole that debate with Trump. Oh, that was a couple years ago now, but that was beautiful to watch in such a sad way that it was very clear at that point in time that he had dementia, and there's nothing they can really do about it. They're just like, okay, so we're gonna take Grandpa Biden off the stage and put just a shoehorn this brown woman, and we're gonna use Hillary's talking points except for a brown woman because that totally worked the last time, and apparently it's too late now. And so they're now like, okay, now they're trying to shape up for 2028. AOC is now gearing up to also probably be a presidential candidate. There's Gavin Newsom that's also calmed down and trying to moderate his opinions about various things. They're basically, like, I don't think they're going to win in 2028. I think this stain of Biden and the Democrats and the culture in general is still too strong, but it's definitely going to be a closer run because the Republicans have been shitting the bed. Like, Trump being a lame duck and the Iran war is absolutely killing the GOP. That's why they're hiding JD Vance. They used to bring him out and make him the star of the show for the first year, but now they're hiding JD Vance because they don't want him being tarnished by the Trump administration's mistakes. But then once it gets closer to 2028, they're going to get him out and make him more front and center and try to reshape things and basically try to make him sound more promising than Trump was on various issues, despite his Indian wife, mind you. And I do think he is going to win, but it's going to be a bit tighter than it probably should be because the Democrats are moderating themselves because they want to get in power again. They might have the establishment, but once they actually get into the presidency, well, you thought Biden was bad. Well, guess what? You stupid, fat fucking chuts. You're now going to be punished for voting for Trump in the first place. And so if the Democrats are able to get in 2028 or even in 2032, whatever time they finally get their moment to shine, they're going to be absolutely brutal once they have that kind of power.
Which it is. Why should anyone trust a politician who can get swept up in mass hysteria so easily? How can I trust that won't happen again? How can I trust in 5 years from now, you won't just call whatever it is you're advocating for now woke too and dismiss it as crazy? Free Palestine. Woke too was crazy. Like, what do you believe in? Could you imagine Republicans being like, January 6th one was crazy? Basically, I said this all on Twitter and people were like already making videos of it. AOC panics after Shoe0nHead calls her. Like, that didn't even happen. Like, I don't think AOC even knows I exist. I love the thumbnail on this one. Shoe bitch slaps AOC. Who the fuck is this? Is that Shoe bitch? Yeah.
I mean, that does look like Shoe, but like it's clearly AI at the same time. Also, I want to point out not the number friend here, but the views on the videos. The first one got 45,000, but that second one she just showed with this AI thing is 156,000. Those are not numbers to scoff at. People actually watch and believe that shit.
Yes, the infamous, notorious shoe bitch, going around slapping women. Every time I log onto YouTube, I'm destroying and slapping and finishing on people. If you didn't know who I was, you would think I was some like psychopathic rapist. And then you click on the video and it's
I'm the rapist. I rip you now.
just like I posted a tweet. Anyway, back to the point. When a citizen changes their mind on something, that's totally normal, that's totally natural. Many things can happen in the span of years that can change your mind on something. It's perfectly normal to evolve and grow. And it's fine if you're a politician and you change your mind on something, but, and this is a big but, this is a fat ass. If you're a politician and you change your mind on something, I want to know exactly why you changed your mind, when you changed your mind. Be transparent. What about woke 1, really woke 2 in my opinion, don't you agree with anymore? Why didn't the interviewer ask AOC that question? Like, what was crazy about woke 1?
They're not going to ask like their softballing questions, and this is going based on the premise that they're being genuine, that AOC really does believe woke 1 was crazy after all. I think she's lying and trying to temper things down a little bit to prepare for her own little presidential run. They're just flipping the script to manipulate people more because they realize they went a little bit too far, a little bit too fast, and now they're going to focus on other issues instead. It's not genuine, and the interviewer knows it's genuine. AOC knows it's not genuine, and I'm sure Shoe also understands why it's not genuine. Hence why she's demanding them to actually answer these questions, but we're not going to get an answer.
Women are women, DEI, white privilege, defund the police, the Green New Deal, like what? What? Tell us. What? Tell the class. I've talked about this a few times in a few videos, but one example of me changing my mind, I was way more critical of the police back in like 2020, like borderline ACAB. I was also single, depressed, living in my parents' basement, smoking weed every day, but I'm sure that had nothing to do with it. I can tell you that moving from the suburbs to the city, taking public transportation, having a kid, seeing firsthand how bad things are and how bad things can get, actually experiencing the world outside of my bubble is what changed my mind on that topic and a whole bunch of other topics. So I want to know, AOC and other politicians, what about woke 1 do you disagree with now? What's sad is if this was like 5 years ago, I'd be like, hell yeah, AOC has finally seen the light. Woke is bad, so true. Now we can get real things done, comrade. But it's not 5 years ago. I'm a grown-up now, and this is extremely pathetic. As a politician, you need to be transparent. I'm gonna bird hands at you. Be transparent. The people who act like we need to be apologizing for shit our ancestors did 400 years ago.
We're not gonna get transparent politicians. That's like an oxymoron. That's literally impossible, right? This is gonna sound really retarded now, but I thought Trump was actually pretty good for, well, 10 plus years now, and I have been burnt significantly over the past couple years he's been in charge. I thought he might be the exception. He is not the exception. Transparent politicians do not exist. Is an oxymoron. They will say whatever will get them in power. They'll get the power. They might do a few things here and there with it to benefit their own causes, and then they'll sit there and do nothing and be pretty. Or they'll actively make the country worse. Unfortunately, with our political system of democracy, we have to deal with politicians.
Like 2020 never happened. I'm not buying it, sorry. These issues were f***ing like existential to these people a few years ago. And now it's just like, no big deal. It was just a phase, Mom. I'm just a silly 30-year-old teenage politician. My concern isn't really that Democrats are admitting this stuff was wrong and deeply unpopular. My concern is I don't see anything preventing from that happening again. There's literally some assemblywoman in Brooklyn right now running on some woke 1-ass shit as we speak, talking about how stealing should be legal, actually. No one should be arrested, much less jailed, for stealing a tube of toothpaste. Incarceration separates people from their jobs, support service, and loved ones. It perpetuates a cycle of poverty and crime, no matter how much fear-mongering the right-wing media does.
First off, ugly fucking bitch. And old too. But holy fuck, there's no line between her tits and her stomach. A little bit more weight and she would just turn into a bowling ball. There's no defined definition there. I would hate to see her ass. But second part, to actually address what she's saying here, most people don't steal tubes of toothpaste. The NWAs that are doing the crime, because, 13% of the population does over 50% of the crime, are stealing shoes. and TVs. It's not stealing toothpaste. It's not that poor pauper with a heart of gold that's stealing bread just to survive. They're stealing because they like to steal and they see something on the shelf that's free. It's that simple. They can't think 15 seconds ahead.
These people aren't stealing toothpaste because they have to brush their teeth. These people are stealing things in bulk to sell on Facebook Marketplace. We have food banks, food stamps, charity for poor people who can't actually afford toothpaste. If I could go back in time and tell myself one thing, it would be criminals are not Aladdin. Criminals are not Aladdin. Criminals are not Aladdin! And it would make everyone's lives incredibly easier if there was actually some deterrent against crime. Yes. Otherwise, what's the point? Why should anyone go to work and spend their hard-earned money when we can just steal? Crime is legal now. Laws. Drunk driving is not illegal on stolen land. I don't think they understand just how incomprehensible some of their worldview actually is.
So if
the amount of resources we actually give in the modern world to quote-unquote poor people is immense. We give more resources than the actual people who are successful. Like they have the food stamps, like she mentioned. Like there's plenty of welfare programs. We have Medicaid and Medicare. We have food banks. We have soup kitchens. You know, people can stand out on the street and say like, "Oh, look, I'm homeless. Please have pity on me." And people will still, after all this time, people will still give them a few dollars of cash. So many resources that we have that's being paid off of yours and my tax dollars to these fuckers. And they don't use them. If they do use them, they trash them at best. And they still steal. Then they still steal my taxes. And they still want more. And more and more and more. Like there's this one video I saw a few weeks ago of this lady on TikTok, this very overweight black woman, because of course, with the long fucking claw nails that are gaudy as shit, full face of makeup, hair done, the whole shebang, and talking about her food bank haul that she drives with her brand new SUV, and she was just being a bitch the entire time. And it's like, my tax dollars goes to that creature. So many people that could actually use that food, but no, it goes to her. It goes to her. My taxes go to her. Why is she here? Why can't she be deported back to Africa again? Send her to Liberia.
If my daughter is assaulted and raped, is there any agency that would seek to find her assailant and bring him to justice?
Of course, yeah, of course.
What would it be if not police, and where would he be if not a jail?
So I guess I really want to avoid getting kind of caught into these hypotheticals and talk more about the reality that we're actually facing right now, which is that we're spending absolutely outrageous amounts of money on police and policing.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean hypotheticals? We're talking about the money. It's a very serious question. Where are they going to go if they're not policing and not going to go to jail? No, we're going to talk about the money. That's not the question. That's not the fucking question. That's not hypothetical.
Hypothetical. That's the entire idea. That's the entire policy, and you can't explain it? Abolish prisons. Where do the bad people go? I don't know. Like, yeah, okay. In a functioning society, people like that would be forced to dig ditches in a work camp forever. Useless. Sorry, I'm chutting out so hard in this video. I'm in my luteal phase. I have a pimple. I have a pimple. For the first time in like 15 years, I'm stressing out so hard. What the f? Anyway, just...
If this is her chutting out, I feel like I've seen her chut out worse in videos before. This is not that bad at all. Up your game, Shoe. I expected better than this than you.
Despite the Republicans completely dropping the ball right before midterms, surprise! War in the Middle East forever! The sudden walk back about Woke One clearly shows the Democrats are still struggling with PR. If only there was some sort of left-wing Joe Rogan.
People think I'm the king of Woke 1.0, that I was Mr. Radlib, right? I never was. He
wasn't even there. Like okay, well, yes, he was. I guess it depends on your definition of Woke One. Like if you go to Shoe0nHead definition of Woke One, like Gamergate, he wasn't there. It was actually the Young Turks. He was too young. He was being the professor still. He wasn't there. If you go for 2020, he was there. But like I think Destiny and Vosh were still bigger. They were still really big contenders of the left wing during that time. I think Vosh was actually the biggest until he had the horse lolly porn, and then he just kind of disappeared. Apparently, he still exists and still doing well. He's just not making drama and news.
Open mind to unlimited progress, but I also understand how people operate. Like I never did the Latinx thing. Like I have been dark woke before dark woke was invented. Like this is the headquarters of dark woke.
Not the dude who called me emo, calling himself dark woke. What the actual f is dark woke?
What is dark woke? Dark woke is just... Democrats are just as woke as we were in Woke 1.0. The messaging is what's important. It is aggressive.
The entire idea...
I was going to call that guy Democratic Nick Fuentes, but then with Nick talking about voting Democrat, that doesn't work out. But like, more left lean, dark woke Nick Fuentes is what that guy was. So just aggressive, evil. We're gonna chat out now ourselves.
Of dark woke seems to be that regular woke was too polite and too wholesome.
Dark woke for me is we are fighting for good and for equality and for social justice for everybody, but we don't mind saying F you.
Dark woke, get it? It's like woke, but we're mean. You already are mean! That's why people hated you! You were finger-wagging, morally righteous woke scolds. The problem was never that the left was insufficiently mean online. God forbid someone say the wrong word, liked the wrong tweet, or failed to participate in the latest virtue signal humiliation ritual. And I'm sorry, can we just go back to that Hassan clip real quick?
I have a pretty open mind to unlimited progress.
What the what does unlimited progress mean? Considering these guys think progress is like a literal linear line where just more and more people get rights. So like, what the does that mean? Pedophile rights, zoophile rights? What unlimited progress are we talking about here, buddy?
I mean, basically, there was something called maps that existed, and they probably still do exist, but they were gaining traction during the 2020 era, roughly. And for those who don't know, MAP means minor attracted person. It was basically their way to remake the word pedophile to change the language like all communists do. They like to subvert. And they even had a flag and everything. And it'd be like, maps are so oppressed. And they're trying to make it into like a sexuality, which I know they still like kind of exist to this day. But they got shut down fairly quickly because it's like, okay, you're just a pedophile. They tried. Right? And I'm sure civility still exists. The furries are getting out of hand. I'm not gonna lie. It's just gonna get worse and worse and worse until basically everyone's got rights. Everything ever can vote. It's basically kind of the clergy plan when you think about it, where everyone's brown and gay and trans and retarded. And because at the end of the day, the basis of what they believe in is just hating white people. They are vindictive, jealous creatures, upset that the Western civilization actually built something and their people didn't, and now they're trying to come in and leech off of it while destroying it from the inside at the same time. And so they will attack every single avenue. They will trans your son. They will make your daughter into a butch lesbian. If they're not born, they're trying to get an abortion, or maybe a post-birth abortion in the case of Lindsay Clancy. You know, they're going to try to make you race mix as much as possible. And that includes the guys too. You know, don't race mix over their biggest racist of all time with his Asian wife, okay? Bad. They're gonna import every single foreigner in the sun until every single aspect of Western society is destroyed. That's what dark woke is. That's what woke is. That's what being a leftist is. That's what being a Democrat is. That's what being a communist in the modern era is. They're all just different terms for essentially the same thing. And if you disagree, then you get kicked out and thrown into the right, which not even, by the way, the right's too big of a tent, and that's a problem in itself, because if you're against the gay trannies, okay, like, and having Muslims, you're automatically thrown to the right. Now we gotta deal with them, and that's a whole different problem in itself.
Because that sounds pretty woke to me. We did so much progress to the gender discussion. We somehow looped back around to little boys liking pink means they're gay. But wokely, no son of mine is gonna play with Barbies. That must mean he's a girl. You people are lost in the sauce.
Mandami's aide, his top aide, Sia Weaver, said if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize property, it's over. And impoverish the white middle class.
Beast mode. I love her so much. One of the things about Zoran is that the people surrounding him oftentimes are so much cooler than he is.
I like how in the video where he defends himself from people criticizing that clip, he's like, guys, come on, it was just a joke, guys, come on. In the description of that video, he's like, anti-white racism, which doesn't exist. Definitely not woke one. All right, buddy. Sorry. It's so hard not to just make the entire video clowning on that goofball. Like, bro was in a suit at a pool party. The man is a cartoon character. I don't want to make videos about Hassan Piker, but you can't fucking escape him nowadays because the media won't shut the fuck up about him. Fox News.
He is the poster boy of the left these days. They don't really have much of anybody, right? They have the establishment, like I said. The left doesn't really have anybody, but the establishment. They don't actually have a representative. So they have Hassan, and now he's gonna take himself seriously because he's in news articles talking about how he's taking HRT, and he's gonna wear that suit because Shoe0nHead made fun fun of him for wearing sweaters all the time. He's being the poster boy until he loses his effect, and they'll find somebody newer and shinier probably when 2028 rolls around.
Is just hyper focusing on him every single day to go after the Democrats because I guess they have nothing else. And then the response to all the Hassan stuff coming out on the right, coming out on Fox News, is then like left-wing journalists making more puff pieces, taking more photo shoots of Hassan in his mansion, and all these outlets calling him like a terrorist and a communist just makes him sound way more important and like way cooler than he actually is. Nothing hurts this dude more than reminding him that he is literally just a Twitch streamer. I don't want the focus of American politics to center around a f***ing Twitch streamer. Like, I don't understand the media's obsession with this guy, but at the same time, I don't think Hassan is the best wagon to hitch yourself to if you're the Democratic Party. There are other internet celebrities on the left you could do that with. Like, God, the left really has nobody.
Yes, that's my point.
No, he's a sex pest. No, she's a sex pest. Damn it. I don't know. There's gotta be someone with way less baggage than Hassan Piker. Like, why don't you hitch your wagon to someone like that? Instead of Hassan, who, every time he's rightfully criticized, hides behind how he just wants to give us health care.
I've been thinking about this recently. I think everyone's kind of checked out from it to a certain degree on both sides, right? Because the left doesn't have anybody other than Hassan Piker. The right is fractured because we were such a big fucking tent that we basically took anybody that wasn't a fan of transing kids and wants strong borders, and now we've moved further than that, and so we have to deal with the consequences of it. But Trump's also causing problems by not doing stuff within the Iran war, which is causing infighting, and it's just like nothing's really happening. Hassan Piker does something done. But why do we care about Hassan Piker? Because he's a big Twitch streamer and a lot of people watch him. Okay, but like he's still a Twitch streamer. He shouldn't have that much involvement in politics. It just doesn't feel like there's anything to grasp at to keep on moving forward. It just feels like we're just stagnating and plateaued and nothing's happening.
Death to the West! Let the streets run with their capitalist blood! Whoa, dude, you're making us look bad. Oh, I'm just a little healthcare boy! You wouldn't criticize a little healthcare boy now, would you? I don't care anymore. I wash my hands of this. There's gonna be like 25 videos uploaded after this, like Shoe0nHead bends Hassan over and like, great.
Shoe0nHead,
remember that big study we talked about that was done after the Democrats lost the election that showed the most popular Democrat positions were things related to economic issues, and the least popular policies were things like abolishing the police, abolishing prisons, and like open border policies? People don't want to abolish the police. They do not want to abolish prisons. They don't want to talk about whiteness or whatever the talk to actual workers about them. Like, talk to actual blue-collar workers. They hate this shit. And they hate you. They hate you because you suck, but they also hate you because you hate them. Like I said 500 billion times before, more people would be on board with what the left was saying, or at least like sit down and listen to you, if you dropped the gay race Marxist bullshit. How do I know this? The DSA and the left and the Democrats, they have to distance themselves from the goofy, destructive, identity politics, asocial bullshit. And in order to
see, and this is where I differ from Shoe, as much as I like her a lot, is that it's more than just the gay race communism. The gay race communism is baked in. It's permanent. They're not going to drop it because it's essential to what they're doing. They're trying to make America as brown as possible because they're trying to destabilize white America, because America is a country for white people, built by white people, and supposed to be defended by white people. And the more browns you bring in from mystery meat places, the more fractured and destroyed it will become. And so they definitely need the race part of the gay race communism. They need the gay part because they're trying the gays don't reproduce naturally. They have the molesting room from a young age, and they can rip kids' minds because they're so malleable at that age. They can create lifelong soldiers. They go after women and children, and they're the strongest defendants of the state because they're the most easily manipulated by a long shot. Women are so emotional, hence why you have all the Lancey Clancy fans. And then you have the children, which are malleable from there. So you have the gay part. The gay race is taken care of. And then the communism. Well, communism sounds great on paper. Everyone gets equal treatments. Everyone gets equal pay. Everyone gets equal amount of everything. There's no hierarchy. Everything is equal as possible. Equity. There's a difference. That sounds really nice on paper to very low IQ individuals, and so that's the policy you're going to give them. You get free shit. Well, everyone loves free shit. Who's going to pay for the free shit, though? Well, it's just free shit. Like, you can't get rid of the gay race communism because it's literally part and parcel of their branding of what they're doing. They've been even before, you know, Trump was really a thing. They're already heading that direction with Obama being the first black president. It's been a long time coming. It's the Gramsci tactics here. They slowly observe from the inside out and push forward the ever-long march of progress. You cannot get rid of it. But then the second point is that even if, hypothetically, they did get rid of the gay race communism, I still wouldn't vote for them because I'm at the point where all I care about are white families. And socialist policies sound nice on paper once again, and they can work in high-trust white societies with low population, but it's not going to work in America. America's too high of a population and too fractured and too culturally different. The North is different than the South. The East and the West are different than the Midwest. And that's just the big, vast regional aspects of things. And all I care right now is having a white country for white families, for actual real Americans, and deporting every single brown. Get rid of everybody who's come after 1965 Hart-Celler Act that's not from a European country. Stop with the immense amount of taxes and the welfare programs. And stop women's right to vote. Get them out of politics completely. Do those 3 things, and I'd be fucking happy. And by getting rid of gay race communism, you're not going to get those results by just getting rid of gay race communism. I want somebody extreme, and I want something radical. I want to return to hundreds of years ago, because that's at least a somewhat better society.
To do that, you actually have to mean it, not just laugh it off. But I don't think they can, because this stuff is just so deeply ingrained in socially progressive politics. A lot of this stuff isn't woke one. It's just part of dismantling whiteness and the patriarchy, destroying hierarchies, subverting norms, or whatever the that cancel Thanksgiving tweet wasn't just some like silly haha woke one bullshit. But you know, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is what I've been asking for a decade. Maybe this is a new era for the Democrats. Could AOC actually have changed her mind? Yes, it's totally possible, yes. AOC and I are like the same age. She's like a year older than me. She's still pretty young. 35 is young, right? It's not impossible.
I thought she was 39. Hold on. Let me not. I could have sworn she was 39 years old. 36. Okay. I thought she was older than that. Still too old. Still too old. She hit the wall. She is the wall.
Well, that in her time being a politician, her mind has changed on a few things. But it lines up suspiciously well with a run for president in 2028. So forgive me if I'm a little bit skeptical. I see a lot of Republicans online like, do it, AOC, run for president. Don't get too cocky. You may be surprised. The American people are an enigma, and we might see a pretty big pendulum swing. As hard as it is for some hyper-partisan-brained people to hear, not everyone voting for these DSA candidates are like crazy commies or something. Just like not everyone who voted for MAGA in 2016 when Trump promised to bring jobs back and he will remember the forgotten man and whatever. Those people weren't Nazis. When people can't afford a house, a car to get married, to have kids, you cannot be shocked when they start looking for options outside of the establishment. Huey Long, one of my favorite politicians, believed that if people had their needs met and were content and happy and had jobs and could feed their families, communism or fascism would never come to America because people would have no reason to revolt or want those things. They would be happy with what they had. He believed that extreme economic inequality created political instability. And as the economy continues to go to shit and wages don't increase, and retards like Dan Crenshaw respond to these issues with basically let them eat ramen, we are going to see people moving to all different directions on the political spectrum. Personally,
hey, that's me. I'm going not the communist route though. More like a 1940s kind of style in a certain European country kind of style, but that's me. Which I do think that Huey Long quote that she said is accurate to a certain degree, but I also think part of the problem is the rat utopia, where we have things that are too good. I've thought about this for a while, but what really has been making me think about it a lot more is the Lindsay Clancy stuff. All those women on TikTok talking about how they basically want to murder their kids and how awful and horrible being a stay-at-home mom is. Life has gotten too easy. Life has gotten too safe and comfortable. And so people need struggle. Struggle is good. Having some problems in your life is actually a good thing because it actually gives you some sort of purpose and work beyond it. If everything is fine, your brain starts going a bit schizo and starts to develop problems out of thin air. And that's what those moms are doing. They have such a good life. Like they have a washing machine to wash their clothes. They're not doing it by hand. They have a dishwasher. All the bills are paid and the lights are on. They're not building the house. They don't have to go to a garden and get the vegetables. And they just go to the grocery store. There's all these different sleep devices to take care of children and entertainment on TV to distract them instead of actually spending time with their kids, right? Like there's so many different things to make your life a million times easier than even it was 50 years ago and 100 years ago and 200 years ago from that it's gotten so easy that we just started making up random bullshit in our head to just add that false sense of struggle to justify ourselves for really living. Even with the Hui Long quote that all the bills are paid and everything's fine, people are comfortable, communism will never come. Well, communism has been trying to come into America since the Red Scare. Since the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. There's the whole reason why the Cold War to begin with. It's been a threat because people always are striving for something more, something greater than themselves. And they see what little injustice there is still left. And they want to see alternatives because they're just not happy. They're not content with themselves, even though they're supposed to be. Because they need that false problem to justify their existence. The only way to deal with the radical extremes is to stamp them out as soon as they pop up, and we just did not do that. And now everything's worse.
Until there's a Democratic Party that isn't prisoner to identity politics or isn't completely cucked by race grievance, I'm not a Democrat. And until there's a Republican Party that actually cares about workers and isn't completely cucked to a certain foreign country, I'm not a Republican. I'm trying to look like Hassan. I look like a femboy. Wait, hold on.
Hi, my name is Sock.
No! Somebody's gooning to that. Hold on, wait a second. Hold on. Come on. Somebody is gooning to that right now. Which one of you are gooning right now here? Okay? Okay? Whacking it. She's looking quite fine. I think she even hit her tits too in it. That's actually impressive. Okay.
Hi, my name is Sock.
I look like I would be groomed on Discord. What the actual... Alright,
yes.
I need to get out of this. I need to get out of this.
I would groom.
I do not like seeing politicians run from accountability. I like transparency. If you change your mind on something, tell me why. This woke one, woke two is a headache. I am done with it. What do you guys think? Do you guys think there's a chance AOC is being genuine? Are you willing to believe politicians who have said they've changed their mind on things? Have you changed your mind on things since like 2020? If so, what? If you like this video, please subscribe. And
since 2020, like I've gotten more extreme in my views, but the views themselves are basically the same. I would say the only thing I really changed on would probably be the gays. Like I hated the pride parades and gay rights and all that bullshit, but I was still relatively okay with gay marriage and them just existing. But then over the past couple of years, I've changed on that. What really got me was two things in particular. It was the fact that all the gays that actually do marry, which by the way, very few actually do. They're two fucking sex pests that actually settle down. Is they always adopt baby boys, and then all the horror stories that would come out of that. I'm like, so maybe you shouldn't have rights whatsoever. Maybe you should all get the wood chipper. And then the other thing too is the mentioning of the sex pest thing. Fun fact, it is safer to get a blood transfusion from an untested straight man than it is to get from a tested gay man because the false negatives are so much higher with the gays than they are with the straights, because they're so much more likely to have STDs. So it's safer to get a blood transfusion from an untested straight man. And it's like, okay then. Listen, I knew you weren't exactly the most loyal. I knew you like to have your gay orgies, but maybe we should do something about those gay orgies here. Oh, another thing too about the gays that really dissuaded me from marriage in particular is that they get tax breaks for being married. Well, you're only supposed to get tax breaks to incentivize you to have kids, so you have more money to raise those kids. But I don't want the gays having kids because I don't fucking trust them with them. So they're getting tax breaks just for being together and not being sex pests. And the more people get tax breaks, the more taxes you're gonna pay overall because the government's gonna have to get their money regardless. They don't deserve tax breaks for just being fucking homosexuals. That would probably say be my biggest change from 2020 is my opinion about the gays. Other than that, I've been racist since 2020, just nowhere near as bad. I just kind of like I don't really care for them. I don't really want to be around them. To those who wow, I 3 letters. Anyways,
And if you can, please consider donating to my Patreon, link down below. All patrons get every single video a day early with no censors, no bleeps, totally raw. Also, I'm doing Patreon only live streams now. I'm planning the next one very soon, so I would love to see you guys there. And for everybody else, I will see you guys soon with a new video.
I'm waiting for the looper at the end.
I'm not here to educate you.
Holy fuck, that's hot. Hold on, wait a second. I'm gooning in chat right now. Yeah. I wish I was her. I wish I had her life. I wish I was her. I'm gooning to her right now.